Young people, I want you to listen to me, and I want you to listen to me good. There are actually people in this world who have never experienced living on their own. And no, hold on. I'm not talking about people who literally just simply can't afford to do it. We live in a shitty ass economy and people don't pay a fair wage. I'm not talking about that situation. I'm talking about the people who literally go from their parents' house or from their guardian's house to their romantic partner's house. They've never had a time of being by themselves. I used to think that living alone was something that miserable women did. And as someone who has been doing that since 2008, I haven't always felt this way. I've had to do a lot of work, but let me tell you, I prefer this. Growing up, I didn't understand the women who were married but lived in separate houses or had separate bedrooms from their husbands. I didn't quite understand women who had boyfriends but never wanted to marry them. You don't want to be married? But now, seeing the things I've seen and knowing the things I know, I get it. If you are able to, please have some time by your fucking self. I honestly think, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with wanting love and relationships and marriage and all that. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I do think it's a huge red flag to want to rush into those things, to feel like you're not complete without those things. And I've said this before. People keep saying, well, once you retire, you can live your life. There's no guarantee that we're going to live to see another day. There's no guarantee that we're going to be in perfect health once we're older. So the time to live is now, while you have all the energy, all the freedom. You can be completely selfish and do whatever the fuck you want to do. I'm not putting down anybody who, has never lived on their own and they immediately just moved in with a man and got married after they lived with their parents growing up. But I'm just saying, to me, there's something to be said about someone who just wants to spend some time away from their parents and on their own. I wish I would have done that. If I could go back in time, if I could just go back in time, I would have gotten my own apartment and figured my own shit out. I was way too young to get married. And I love my children, believe me, but I was way too young to have children. I think I was 22 when my son was born. I was freshly 20 when I met my then husband. I was too young for that. Our brains aren't even developed until 26. There were so many things that I thought I wanted at 20 that I really just didn't want. And yes, I was married to a man who was an asshole, and I cooked and cleaned for him, and people tell me, well, if you would have had a good man, you wouldn't have. No. Even if my ex-husband would have been an amazing man, I am not a cooker or a cleaner. That's just not me. That's just not who I am. And I thought that that was who I was back then, but it was never me. That's why I hated it so much. That's why I experienced so much depression. There was a creator on here. I don't know her name. I don't want to say it wrong. I duetted the video. But she was in tears and she was crying and she said, imagine the things that we as women could do if we stopped living for men. Just imagine